This is Jerry with the Sensible Survival Solution, and this is our ammo build beginning to end on the 308 Winchester. This is the third step of 3 on case prep. You've been watching this now, you've watched the series, so I'm not going to go over the individual rules, but I do expect you to read and follow them and pay particular attention to the vision and hearing protection because some of this stuff does get loud. Step 3 of 3. This is the crimp removal and the uniformed primer pocket. This is actually getting the primer pocket ready to receive the new primer. It's a very important step, and I will get into some of the reasons why. Number one is, if you're firing this cartridge from a semi-automatic rifle, particularly of the AR style, then you're going to have the opportunity or the possibility for something that's called a slam fire. This is when you have the floating firing pin. When it slams forward on the bolt, it will protrude slightly out of the bolt carrier group. If your primer is not seated properly and is extending over the end of the cartridge outside of the primer pocket, the firing pin could make contact with the primer hard enough for it to go off upon the bolt carrier group moving forward. I've had this done. This now turns your semi-automatic rifle into a short burst fully auto, and it will scare the wham out of you. Promise you, it will. So it's really critical that you get the primer pocket shaped properly so that it will receive the primer and fully seat it within the cartridge. You're also going to notice I'm continuing to use the Frankford Arsenal Case Trim and Prep Center, and I'll show you how to change the tools out from the trimming down to the primer pocket uniformer and crimp removal tool. So let's get started. Okay, the next step is that we're going to take the cases now, and inside here we're going to get this primer pocket ready to receive the new primer. There's carbon in here, there's gunk that you want to clear out. This is once fired military brass, so it has a crimp around the outside of that primer pocket, which makes it really, you hardly can get a tool in there because it is got that crimp, so I can't even hardly get that tool in there, let alone the next primer. So there's the old way of doing it, which was taking this tool here, and that is the crimp remover, and you had to go in and go around and around until you could feel the crimp is no longer in there. Once you're done with that, then you would take your pocket uniformer and get it in and insert it, and then start twisting and twisting and twisting. Now, while this works, and you can do it watching TV, so there's not a big deal to it, but it would then clean out that pocket. It's just not as good as this Frankford Arsenal machine here. So to change it out and get it ready from the prior step, which is what you saw us using these tools here, you simply just unscrew them. Then once you get that tool out, then you insert the next one in. In this case, I'm going to put my crimp remover on the top, and I'll put my pocket uniformer down here on the left nearest me. So they just unscrew. There's two different sizes, large and small. Since this is the 308 caliber, it does take the large pocket primer and large crimp removing tool. The tool that you see over here on the third hole, the third pin, this actually can be used to take off some of the, it's kind of a pocket cleaner. It's not a uniforming tool, but it does clean out some of the gunk that's inside the pocket here. I'm also going to use my handy dandy Harbor Freight rubber gloves. It makes this a whole lot easier to grab a hold of and use. So let's go ahead and just do the first one, and then I will do the machine here in a minute for the entire 20. So you can take it here. It's going to knock out some of the gunk, so you can see some of that gunk's gone. Then it's going to take out the crimp around the outside. And when you're done with this, you'll have kind of a beveled edge to the pocket. And then the final stage is to go in here and just clean it out. You can feel this as you're doing it. You can feel the bit biting into the brass, and it pours out. You can see the shavings coming out of the primer pocket when you pull it away, and you'll see. Now that's clean. That's a clean primer pocket there. That was ready to go. So let's go ahead now and take a look at doing all 20 of these and see how long it takes. All right, 9 minutes, 45 seconds or so, and we've got 20 of them done. Now these cases now are ready to load. You've got, the case has been resized, deprimed. The length is now the correct length. We check the neck space to make sure it's going to go to battery properly. And then we've also removed the crimp and resized the pocket for the new primer to go in. So this case is now back to, which basically is factory spec. So these are ready to go. So we've got 20 cases done. The next step of the process is going to be to change out the press that I have on here, take this single stage out, put in my turret press, and then get it set up and ready to go to reload the 308. The next step of the process is going to be fast. What we've done now is the most time-consuming portion of the entire reloading process. So from here on out, it's going to go pretty quick. I hope you've enjoyed the series so far. Keep watching. You're going to learn something.